Hi, I'm Miss Nancy, Family Librarian at the Central Library, and you may have noticed we're not there right now, so I'm coming to you from my kitchen and to tell you just a few things that you can still do even though the library is closed right now. You can go online to buffalolib.org and look at our many resources, including databases, connections to everything you want to know about COVID-19, all kinds of things. If you just go to that website, you'll see information. You can also still send emails and you will get a response if you have some questions. Also, don't forget you can download ebooks and audiobooks to listen to and watch and share with your family. This week's really special for a lot of people in Buffalo and actually all over the world. It's Holy Week leading up to Easter. And so today, because I'm the librarian in charge of the cookbook collection, I'm going to share with you one of my favorite family traditions, which is making Italian Easter cookies, bupi con l'uova. This recipe came over from Sicily. All of my grandparents are from Sicily. And every year, my mother and aunts and nanas would get together and make these special cookies. So, welcome to my kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to make these cookies. It's a great activity for the entire family. So, welcome to my kitchen. So, here we go with the actual cookie making part. So, I'm going to start with a cup and a half of butter or shortening. I use butter. My mother always used shortening. If you're going to use butter, you're going to want to use unsalted butter, because there's salt in the recipe. If you use salted butter, you're going to adjust your salt, or it probably be too salty. So anyway, start by mashing up your butter. You can do this in a mixer too if you have a heavy-duty mixer, like a KitchenAid type mixer, which I do have, but it's not working right now, unfortunately. But by hand is fine. That's how my mama did it, and my nana. So you're going to mash up the butter. Start with butter that's not too hard from the fridge. And then once you get that kind of creamy, you're going to add sugar. And I pre-measured everything ahead of time so that I wouldn't be on here filming for a super long time. You can pause the video as you go. Okay, so that looks pretty creamy. Creamy enough to me. Creamy-ish. I'm going to add my cup and a half of sugar. Stir that up. And this is definitely where the mixer comes in handy. A lot easier to do, but by hand works great too. Just gotta work at it a little longer. This is the part where I usually call my husband down to stir for me, but he's busy. Then I have the 6 eggs, which I have in a separate container, and I'm going to whip those up. You can either use a whisk or a fork to kind of stir those up. There's my eggs in there. So, stirring up my eggs a little bit, separate bowl, and I'm going to add my vanilla and orange juice directly to the egg mixture, and I need, let's see, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Alright, I'm cheating because I don't have my teaspoon thing handy. I'm just going to use my tablespoon measure and estimate what 2 teaspoons is. Throw it in there. And I'm also going to add the orange juice at this point too to the eggs. Stir that up. Set that aside for a second. Double check my recipe. So I got the sugar, the butter, the juice, the vanilla, the eggs. But one other ingredient I want to add right now is the zest of an orange. So I got a couple oranges because I felt like these oranges were a little on the small side. And I'm going to zest them. That basically means I'm taking off the rind. That's actually where the most flavorful part of the citrus fruit is for lemons and limes and oranges. So you can use different instruments. I got this little grady thing. that you can use, that one can use. And I also have a zester, which looks like this. I don't always have a lot of luck with zesters. I feel like, I don't know, it makes really long strands, and I don't love that. But I mean, there's ways you can get around that by, you know, kind of crisscrossing. Actually, this is working really well today for some reason. So anyway, just kind of go crisscrossy. Get that zest out. Or alternately, if that's hard for you to hold this particular zesting instrument, some people find a grating kind of thing easier. Just put that down. God, my keyboard's going to be covered with food later. And grate that. You can do that pretty quick. And then that comes out actually to be in like littler pieces. Sometimes that works a little bit better. Oh gosh, this smells so good. So I actually took out 2 oranges because these oranges are kind of small-ish looking to me. So I wanted to get a little extra zest because I love that orange zesty flavor. So I'm going to do a couple oranges just to make it extra zesty. So once I'm done doing this, I'm going to combine the eggs and the egg, vanilla, orange juice mixture with the sugar butter mixture and stir that all up. Pull all that nice zest out of that thing because sometimes it gets trapped in the little grater guy. Alright, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that right to the egg mixture so it kind of gets it all distributed evenly. Okay, here we go. Stir that into the eggs, and now I'm going to add that to the butter sugar part. I'm just going to add part of it because it's going to be like super liquidy. Just kind of get that mixed in. Sugar and butter. Again, this is where a heavy duty mixer will make your job really easy. This is getting really liquidy. It's different than when you make regular cookies, like a chocolate chip cookie or something like that. A little bit different the way it's going to look, and I'll show you in a moment once I get everything in here what it's going to look like. So you can see, get this camera angle down here, it's pretty liquidy, liquid and butter. So I'm going to stir that up and try to incorporate that as best as I can. You can do the same while you're watching me. So right now there's a ton of lumps of butter and mixed in with the egg mixture. And now is when I'm going to confess that I'm the youngest in the family and I've never actually made the dough. Now with that said, I have been a professional baker, so I know my way around the kitchen. So I'm pretty confident it's going to work out just fine. But we'll see. So anyway, this is still pretty lumpy. I'm going to start to add the flour part. Breaking a lot of rules here. Okay, so I have my 8 cups of flour measured in this biggish bowl. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of baking powder. Okay, baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. And yes, 3 tablespoons, not 3 teaspoons. That's a lot of baking powder. So I'm going to add that. And then I'm going to add my salt. This recipe calls for a teaspoon of salt. I actually added a little bit less salt because I used 2 sticks of unsalted butter and 1 stick of salted butter because that's what I had in the fridge. So, stirring up my flour. Okay, now at this point, I double check my recipe and make sure I'm not missing anything. And I got sugar, butter, orange juice, zest, vanilla, eggs, flour, baking powder, salt. I think that's everything. Here's hoping. Okay, so now I'm going to start to add this. And I'm not going to add it all at once. I'm just going to add a little bit, like maybe a third or half to start. And I'm going to start stirring that up. Now it's going to start to get really thick like a cookie dough, and then as you add the flour, it's going to start dispersing the butter better. And it's already kind of coming together for me here. So, all right. So this is what it's looking like with half of it put in. All right, I'm going to add some more flour. I can already see this is too much flour. Now, the recipe I have from my mom, which I've never made on my own, says 8 cups of flour. It doesn't say if I should sift it or not. Now, sifting flour, 1 cup of sifted flour versus 1 cup of just regular packed-in flour, it's quite a bit of a difference. A cup of sifted flour could be closer to 3/4 of a cup of packed-in flour. So I already see that this is getting really stiff, so I'm not going to add all the flour at this point. So now it's getting kind of thick, almost like a bread dough. I'll show you what that looks like. Hopefully you can see that. See, it's kind of really pretty thick. So at this point, I'm going to switch over to using my hands. Of course, you're going to have thoroughly clean hands doing this. We're all washing hands like crazy these days. Alright, so I'm just going to stick my hands in there and start kind of mixing it with my hands. As I mix it with my hands, I mean, it's kind of nice because I get a feel for the dough, and you know, I want there to be a level of moisture. Like, think about when you make cutout cookies and you touch the dough and it's a little bit you know, sticky, or you can feel like a little moisture in it. You don't want it to be super dry. Let's see here. So this is looking pretty good. But it's starting to feel pretty tacky. I mean, not just that I can feel the moisture, but it's feeling kind of sticky and tacky. And I think that seems to be a little bit too wet. So I'm going to add a little more flour. I'm just going to add like a couple of little scoops here. My spoon. Stir that up. Okay, so I'm done mixing the dough. I did end up using the rest of that flour, and the texture seems nice and velvety, and it smells just like what it used to smell like, so I think I'm on the right path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this to make it more manageable. I'm going to get my butter knife, or whatever instrument you have, and I'm going to cut the dough into 4 pieces, just to make it more manageable, because now we're going to put it in the fridge to rest for an hour or however long, overnight, a couple days, whatever. And then I will have to pull it out of the fridge and let it come, you know, warm up a little bit. Let the butter get soft again so that we can work the dough. So I'm going to put this in the fridge. My 4 pieces. Look at that. Looks like dough. And then I'll be back in a bit to talk about shaping these into the cute little basket shapes, and the different things we can add to to the finished product when it's done, when it's cooked. Okay, so now I'm getting my dough and I'm rolling it out to make the cute little shapes. I'm going to start by rolling on your surface. I like using one of these like plasticky pie rolling type things. And sprinkle a tiny bit of flour, not a ton because you don't want to make the dough all floury, but enough so that it doesn't stick to your hands. So I made this rope, and this is what's going to make our cookie. So I'm going to take my rope. So what I did was I had 4 chunks. I had 4 chunks of dough, right? Took each chunk and I divided it into 6 so that I would know how much dough to use for each cookie to give me 24 cookies. That's how I'm doing it. So anyway, I made my first one and it looks like that. So what you do is you take your dough, you make a rope. You take the other half of the dough from your 1/6 of the dough pile and you roll it to make another rope. So there'll be 2 equal sized ropes, sort of equal size. These are totally equal. That one's a little shorter, but that's okay. Make my 2 little pieces of rope. Then I'm going to shape them like a snake. So I'm going to angle this down so you can see a little better. So I'm going to take this dough and I'm going to make like a little loop-de-loop guy. And then the ends I'm going to curl. And then this other piece, I'm going to crisscross it and do the same thing on the opposite side. So then when you're done, you got this, you got that little design. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can see. Then at this point, you're either going to take another little piece of dough, which I guess I should have saved a little piece of dough. Oh. Rewind. Okay, we're going to steal a piece off this other one. So we need another little piece of dough because this is going to be the top of your nest because you're making like a little basket. So it used to be that we put an egg in the middle, but my kids don't, a real egg, but my kids aren't real big on that. But I'll show you what that looks like. But I'll make one like that. So I'm going to take an egg. Now normally I would have washed these ahead of time just to make sure they're extra clean. You're going to place the egg right on top like that. And then you're going to take this piece of dough and go like that. And then when it cooks, it's going to make this egg sitting, and this is going to be like the top of the basket thing where we're going to put some more decorations and things. My kids aren't real big on the eggs, so what I do now is I just roll up my dough. So I have my second piece of dough. Roll up my dough. Take my knife, cut it in half-ish, because I need an extra little piece of dough, which I'm going to steal off one of these guys for my crown of my basket. So I'm going to roll those both out. Make my swirly design again. Make my little loop-de-loop, curl these ends. Take the other piece, loop-de-loop, curly ends. You can do this however you want. You can make any design you want. And then we're going to take this extra piece and make another little, like, sort of donut guy on top. I'm just going to roll him up like a little snail. And I'm going to stick him up there. And we're going to take this and put it on our cookie sheet. Now it's easier, see here's another one I made already. It's easier to make them right on the cookie sheet than to try to pick them up and move them. So that's a thing. Now the other weird thing with the ones with the eggs is a lot of times the little like topper guy will slide off to the side, but you know, just gotta do the best you can. So these other ones, I still want to roll them on my little rolly thing here, or you can just roll it in the air like this too if you're comfortable doing that. So we'll take this, do the same thing again. And you can do this really, 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 really fast and just kind of throw them together, or you can really take your time and try to be more intricate with your design. I mean, you may get better results if you go a little bit slower, but not always. Sometimes when they cook, they just kind of do their own thing in the oven. So you can't really help that much depending on how you roll it. So, all right, so there's that guy, and I'm gonna do some with the little extra snaily basket guy on top and some without, because we're gonna see what these look like when they come out of the oven. So we're gonna do this. This one, roll, 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 make your design, roll, 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 roll. Try and do this fast so you guys don't have to watch this forever. Make my design. And I got my last lump of dough. And normally I have my Italian music blaring, but I didn't want to be too distracting today with that. We'll save that maybe for the decorating. Okay. I'm going to roll this guy around. Make our little design. Last piece. Do him the opposite way. Okay. So, and I'm going to add this little top piece to one of my other ones here that look like they need some help. Okay, so this is what it looks like. They all look a little different. And now I'm going to put them in the oven, and then we'll see what they look like when they come out. Okay, I'm back, and now it's time for the home stretch, the frosting of the cookies. I did a few ahead of time, and I'm going to finish these up. I put some icing in pastry bags, and I'm piping it on. You don't have to do that. You can use a knife and just put the icing on the edges or whatever. So this was a quick down and dirty version of the cookie with the egg on it. There's the egg. You may recall I mentioned it. They can sometimes go cockeyed in the oven. But I don't make the ones with the eggs anymore because, I mean, they're super cute and they're great for, I really like them for the centerpiece of the table. But to pull the cookie off the egg, the cookie gets stuck to the egg and nobody wants to eat the egg. So we don't make them with the eggs anymore for the most part. So what I'm going to do is just pipe some of this icing on. I already did a few, and I'm just going to take my icing bag, and I have my star tip in there, and I'm just going to pipe it on here quick, down and dirty, to get the icing on and to be decorative. You need the icing on top to stick on the eggs and the little chickies or whatever you're going to use. So I've been using these really cute little eggs. They're little truffle eggs. So those are kind of cute. So I'm going to stick one of those on top like that. And then I'm going to add a few sprinkles because sprinkles are just fun. So let's do that. And I'm going to throw some jelly beans on the four corners. Try to alternate the colors. And there's a simple one. I would typically put much more icing on than that, but I'm just kind of giving you the demo here. I made some other bigger ones with a bigger decorating tip. And I'm gonna use more jelly beans on these. Oh, we gotta get different colors. I don't like it when they're all the same color. And then we're gonna put one of these truffle guys on there, and I think we're going to add a few sprinkles to this one too. So you can also, I like using the malted eggs. Stick those on. They're kind of big to use on these, but, and then I'm just going to stick a chickie on this one without anything under it. And that's like his little nest, or her little nest. Yeah, looks like that. So you can do whatever, you can do whatever you want Just have a good time with this. One other thing I did that I thought was kind of fun was I made a basket. It's also a very traditional kind of thing to make. So I just got the dough. I made 2 rings and made a basket and frosted it and put some little eggs in the middle. And then this one, I used a big chocolate peanut butter egg underneath and then the little chick on top of that. So that's what I did this time. And you know, typically I have never ever made these by myself. I've always been with family. This has been a big family tradition, and it you know, it's really difficult this year that we can't be together to do this. But I will share this video with them and they can make their own cookies. So that's it for the cookie demonstration. I'll be back in a few minutes to tell you more about it. Thank you so much for joining me today. Just a couple little details. Be careful when you hold the cookies when they're done, because I just picked one up by a corner and it broke off, which my husband gladly gobbled right up. But if you're working with your little ones and they pick up the cookie, it could crumble. No pun intended. So just be careful about that, and it's going to happen. So don't be surprised when it does, and be upset about that. So just to go over the recipe with you again, pupa ganlova, it's 1½ cups of white sugar, 1½ cups of unsalted butter or shortening, ½ cup of orange juice, zest of 1 orange, 2 teaspoons vanilla, 6 large eggs, and then you mix all of that with 8 cups of flour mixed with 3 tablespoons of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. And then you can use whatever frosting you want. You can even use canned frosting. I just made a quick frosting out of a stick of butter and some powdered sugar and added some food coloring. But you can use whatever you'd like. And then to decorate, you can use jelly beans and malted eggs and Peeps, and really anything you want. So have fun with this. Thank you so much for watching my first cooking show ever. The Cooking Librarian, I guess that's going to be my new thing. And please post your comments and post your pictures. We'd love to see that you made these and see how they come out. So have fun with this. And if you have any questions, you can leave those in the comment section. And yeah, hope to see you again next week with some more fun things to do for the family. Have a great week and happy Easter for those of you who celebrate.